Oh, yes. It is a weird night. Here we go.
Doesn't get any better.
Come on. I could have had tonight's movie, but I thought that would be rude.
That's presumptuous of you. Everybody else can be story in the 90s for all you know.
Oh, I think I will be in the minority for my take on this movie because I do think, we're having a little trouble getting onto Facebook right now. We'll let you know when the problem's resolved. All right. So currently, we do not seem to be streaming to Facebook at the moment.
What?
I know, it's so disappointing.
Is it?
You see, I don't know. Hold on, I'm going to check Facebook right now. But this is, I know, right? Everything gets messed up. This is the EriDan Film Festival without Dan. Dan is not here. He is on assignment in Washington State, saving the world. We are live. We are on Facebook. I guess that they just StreamYard didn't get the notification that it's working. I think we're all working fine now. So this is good. This is episode, what are we looking at here? 165 of the show. And Dan's not here, so I just brought everybody in who was ready. So we've got Wade and Stacy and Dave.
You're a rebel.
I know, right? I decided that this is just gonna be a weird night, right? I'm just gonna do whatever.
It's going to turn blue and start swirling.
Yeah.
If you need that could happen, and we could all get sucked into the text. I keep getting the warnings about Facebook. I have no idea what's happening. We might not even be live, but let's bring Scott in.
That's Scott?
Yes, it's Scott.
It's Scott. As a baby, he'll grow. Bring Scott back.
What?
I see this as an absolute win.
All right. Oh, there is Scott. How are you, Scott?
So we're not live. I only do this for the attention. Like I can go away.
We're live.
What's going on behind you? You seem to have.
That's my brother Max. He is. Not
your attaché. That's excellent. Well, I'm glad we need more men here because Dan's not
LA.
We need more men with hair is what we need.
Dan actually is in the comments. Apparently, we are on Facebook.
That's good.
Dan is in Washington D.C. Did I say Washington State? I don't know.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, does it? And
Adam, this far apart.
We don't know, Adam, but we're glad you're here, and that's all.
Popping in or pooping in or anything.
Somebody's going to be doing something. Who knows? But this is a special night because not only are we going to talk about a movie, we're going to pick the double feature that we will be watching in 2 weeks. So this is a very important night to be here. If you've never been with us before, head on over to EriDanLive.com. I have no idea how Dan is responsible for the lower thirds. So I have no idea how he has these organized. It's kind of a mess. There we go. Be a guest, EriDanLive.com. I found the button. You can join us. We're going to talk about the movie The Final Countdown, which Wade brought to us from 1980, all the way from the past. He brought us this movie with the amazing graphics and special effects that go with the 1980s. So how is everybody? Before we just jump into business, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Good?
It's smoky out here.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We dropped from 110 to 70 today, but there are parts in East Washington that are hitting like 240.
Yeah. A girlfriend of mine lives in Spokane, and she's 24 miles from each fire. She's right in the middle between each.
Oh, geez.
That's not what's better than being in the fire, maybe?
It's better to be northern.
Just moved into her brand new house, so.
It's better to be northern Pacific Coast right now than southern Pacific Coast.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's
Well, that's where
crazy.
he's going back, so.
Oh, man.
But how is it to be on the Hawaiian coast? No, I'm kidding. So, all right, I'm taking us to the movie, shall we? Shall we?
Sure.
Oh, I know you're excited. 1980s, The Final Countdown. Kirk Douglas, Martin Sheen, Catherine Ross, all gathered together for this epic time travel movie, directed by Don Taylor and written. Took four people to write this movie. They spent $12.5 million. They grossed $17 million. Critics a harsh 52, and the audience also a little lukewarm at 60. But let's bring Amanda in before we get Wade's take on this this classic. Classic? I don't know. Amanda,
Hello.
you made it through this movie.
I survived. Yeah.
All right.
You survived. You weren't sucked back into the vortex.
No.
No.
Apparently.
That's just called the internet.
Yes. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, there were some weird blue lights, but I managed to.
You managed to escape. That's
You
good.
had the blue light.
Put a
glasses
blue
on.
filter up in front of my camera.
Yeah.
I kind of preferred the Sky Gina from the Langoliers. I haven't seen that movie.
I was going to say, I think you've lost everybody on that
Yeah.
one.
Really? The TV
Yeah.
movie, the Stephen King story, where the plane flies through this giant time vortex that has a very
yeah.
particular shape.
I
Looked
remember
like a
like-
Georgia O'Keeffe painting.
Yes, you're like, why? Why are you obsessed with this, Stephen King? But basically, if you've ever seen Rick and Morty and you have those time
Yeah.
regulators with like
Yeah.
the giant teeth, they're loosely based on the Langoliers, which are this notoriously
That make
bad,
everybody happy?
Thank you.
notoriously bad
Wait.
special effects.
Wait, I have to have something rotating that suddenly freezes.
Unfortunately, you can't have a video file playing behind you because this actually was a spiral movie that I had downloaded. But
So are we back in 1980 with the choice of whether to let the movie release or not? Is that?
It's so weird to watch a time travel movie in a time before Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going back in time to warn people away from the theaters.
Yeah. How do you react to the impending release of the final countdown?
all right, hold on. I'm gonna try a button there, and I'm gonna bring Wade up to the front to tell us why you chose the final countdown.
Yeah. Well, I ran across something with airplanes in it that had a time travel sequence with it too. I had watched it a long time ago, and it wasn't a movie that I have to go buy or anything like that, but it was one that I would watch again. And I kind of like the concept of going back in time, but then when they try to change history, it kind of sends them back.
And I have questions about that. I am curious about that, about different people's theory on that for how they use time.
Yeah. Plus,
Did they change history, or were they there all along? Dun, dun, dun.
so they, this was another like Top Gun where it was like a promotional movie for the Navy, I guess.
Yeah, you
Really
could
subtle.
tell right away that they had full cooperation of the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
like, every time they would send off an airplane or something, they'd send out the A6, which is not what they would say. But
Dare, 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 dare.
all I could think about, like a lot of times people will choose a movie, and I'm like, why did they choose this? And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, I know just why they chose it. No doubt that it's like, oh, yeah, no, this is like, hopefully, like, if you watch Sergeant Pepper and you'd be like, yeah, that's Eric. You got to watch this and be like, this is just Wade all over it. Because, like, a lot of movies will include some of that footage at the beginning. Like, okay, we'll have the credits come up and we'll do all this great plane porn to really turn on the Navy people, right?
Yeah.
But this was all throughout the movie. Like, it just never let up.
It was
It's like,
50%
and now we're
of the
gonna take
movie.
15 minutes and watch
It was
movies.
50% of the movie, I swear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
wow. I mean,
A plane rodeo.
They couldn't show a plane in the air without showing how it got there, right?
Exactly.
We had to show every individual takeoff. How else?
Do you remember in Gladiator when they did the reenactment of the historical battle of Carthage? You're like, wait, aren't these guys supposed to lose? That's kind of what this was like.
Yeah.
That's why Tarantino just doesn't care about history. It's like, yeah, we'll murder Hitler. We don't care.
Yeah.
I can't speak to the accuracy of the acronyms or the military speak they were using, but holy cow, was there a lot of it?
Yeah.
Like, is this all necessary? Like, you know what? we're going to let the captain walk on the brig and captain on the brig. And I'm going to say a line and I'm going to walk back up, captain off the brig. That was like 3 seconds apart.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they do that every time he goes on and off the
it's
bridge.
like, could you have done that conversation in the hallway to not waste so much time?
And still doing the old-fashioned whistles, just like directly derived from the British Navy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Kirk Douglas asked everyone to make sure he could roll his sleeves up so you can see every vein in his forearm. Who does that?
It also felt like
so he can do what he wants.
It also felt like the entire budget was just all of the plane shots. So anything else was just like everything that took place in the past was just like audio clips of like the actual 1940s or
I disagree. I think the entire budget,
the photos side by side, they're like, oh, look, it's the same place.
Oh,
it's
that was
exactly
awful.
the same photo.
That was awful.
The movie actually has half the budget.
Yeah, I think
it has
the whole
half the budget of
was
Raiders, and it came out exactly the same year.
But keep in mind, they didn't pay for those military shots. I mean, that's just filming on the carrier with the cooperation of the Navy.
Yeah.
The money really went to Kirk Douglas, to Charlie, to Martin Sheen, to that's really where most of the money went.
They got the names in there.
The yacht shot in the zero.
Oh yeah, Charles Durning on the yacht with the cannon fodder. Yeah.
Hiring the dog was really.
Speaking of people that you pay extra just for their name.
One ring to rule the moon. One ring to fight.
It's Brittany.
Brittany,
Hello.
satisfied with the ending of how this movie worked out for the dog?
Yes.
You're okay with it?
Extra satisfied.
I'm not gonna lie. My brain initially went like, "Oh, you're talking about the dog fight? Oh no, the actual dog." My bad.
Yeah, the actual dog. Adam says he remembers seeing this as a kid and liking it. Watching it as an adult, my feeling towards the movie is definitely different.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Understandable.
What did the title have to do with the movie?
It really wasn't a countdown. Like,
there was no countdown.
I feel like they named the movie under the assumption that like they knew how long they'd be in the past, so we only have 3 hours to change the past. But they didn't. They just
Have you guys ever seen the amazing Mozart biopic Bohemian Rhapsody? No, just me. Okay.
No, just you. I think almost all the time, Scott, it's just you.
Yeah, a lot of times.
It did remind me back when Space 1999 was on, and they were reviewing it in a magazine. It was a magazine of fantasy and science fiction, which hated the series and always gave it bad reviews. And they were reviewing the second season. And I remember they were reviewing the first episode of the second season and went, well, let's see, they're flying around Moonbase, and wait, there's a green blob following them. That's different. All the blobs were blue last season.
Wow.
Because that blue thing, it reminded, the Eye of Sauron with a contact lens in is what it sort of was. It was
the time travel piece. It made Somewhere in Time look pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, just the overacting that they did. Not even if we excuse the special effects, all the my head.
Wait, there were special effects?
Well, they weren't very special.
Or maybe they were very special.
There were special ed effects, maybe.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see how much Martin Sheen looked like Charlie Sheen, or vice versa. I saw, that I don't think I've ever seen a young Martin Sheen movie before. I think it's definitely my first young Martin Sheen movie.
I think the thing that bothered me most was nothing really happened. No. They go back in time. And we're gonna do something. Never mind.
We can bring them all back.
But I think it did happen, though.
Well, did it?
Yeah, well, I mean, they seem like they went with the version of time travel where, like, you may think you can change the past, but that was how it happened all along, right? Like, because they tried to stop the bombing on Pearl Harbor, they saved the senator, but he ended up dying anyway. Like, it kind of was. It feels like, which is fine, except that like the Martin Sheen's character had this whole speech beforehand about like we have to be extra careful, or we might mess with the time. It's like, oh no, actually, I think it's just kind of inevitable.
And let's not forget about the 3 pilots that were on the helicopter who got killed with the senator.
Or the guys who were shot on the Nimitz who died.
Yeah, there was a lot of casualties.
Yeah, and how do you explain that?
Right?
But they were
the-
people
that was-
from the future, so it's fine because that's messed with history. Because like they're although I guess the helicopter remains got shot down, but maybe
The Japanese pilot, or the two Japanese pilots for that
Yeah.
matter.
yeah.
That's true.
But would they still have been on the boat? They probably would have given him like the
It was just
and all the
know.
people that he shot on the boat when the boat went back to the current, like the present. Then how do you explain their deaths to their families?
Yeah, we need the sequel, which
A
where they deal with
Japanese-
like all of the aftermath. It's like, hey, you got this random dog, you found all these dead bodies,
Yeah.
Final countdown too.
and it's
And
like
what-
it's like a
I mean, this
defense
isn't unique to
attorney
this
having to
movie,
like
but-
protect them all from murder charges because of all these dead bodies on this boat.
it's far from unique to this movie, but the fascination both TV and movies have with everything blows up. I mean, if all it took to blow up a helicopter was they would never let a flare gun on a helicopter if they blew up that easily.
Right.
Heck, they wouldn't let you have a flare gun on the ground. Like if you were actually using it and accidentally hit the helicopter and it goes like that, like.
And so
Ooh.
Adam brings up the question. So if Owen / Tideman, was the one who designed the Nimitz, to go back and try to retroactively fix being stranded, or what? Like,
Well, the idea of someone building the Nimitz makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, an aircraft carrier is built by a consortium of companies over decades.
No, he designed it. He designed it. Don't
He
you?
had that much
remember?
money, he could do it. It was fun.
So Rebecca points out if this movie was made today, it would have had more action sequence. A director today would find a way to play out Pearl Harbor
And
more.
Ben Affleck would have been in it.
I would have enjoyed it if they had played out Pearl Harbor more. If we had seen actually more of like the historical setting that we were trying to represent. It was
Yeah.
just all airplane shots.
Was that
Honestly,
HAL
hot take.
2000 in the background there, Brittany?
Yeah. I don't. Is that gonna?
Are you actually on the carrier right now? It's very similar lighting.
No, the lights are actually over here in front of me. They're reflecting for
I
his
feel
back.
like you
That's an angle of attack light that they use to land on the carrier. Like,
Oh.
There we go.
Well done, well done.
Now I just can't move. It's okay. It's all right. We'll just sit right here. It's
Yeah,
good.
don't prove a
I
thing.
mean, the carrier
This
sequences were
one.
interesting. That was the most interesting part. It was interesting carrier footage with a screenplay that made no sense.
Well,
Yeah.
basically, I read online somebody was saying that basically it was a really good documentary of the Nimitz. If you were interested in that, my general opinion afterwards, like this could have made a very interesting Twilight Zone episode in like 20
Yeah.
minutes, right? Like I would have
Sure.
totally been fine with 20 minutes of this in black and white as part of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But it felt like you waited through the whole movie, and the moment something was about to happen, they went, "Never mind." We're gonna bring it right back. You're like, "Oh, finally, something interesting's gonna." No, it's not.
So what you're saying is that God wanted to see what happened.
And we can't forget that we had the obligatory female character
Yeah.
who had to like pop out from behind the thing while she was changing, so we could see her kind of naked. And then she was there to wind up with the main character guy, even though she wasn't in the car at the beginning when they showed up. She, like, I feel like her entire character was there to have a dog that she lost track of, and then to be a love interest. Like,
And was anyone surprised by the big reveal at the end? Because
Oh
was-
gosh, no.
it was the most like by the book time travel
Yeah.
plot. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, there's a mysterious character. Wonder if he's gonna come into play later.
I mean, I didn't think of it right away just because I'd completely forgotten about the mysterious character. But
Yeah.
the moment that they're getting off the Nimitz at the end, I went, "Oh, okay, we want to know who that is."
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, and they're gonna get their dog back. Okay, fine.
Dog bag. Which would be weird.
Yeah, for the dog, it's just like, oh, cool, yeah, that just saw you a little bit ago, but like
In a couple of hours.
40-year time gap, it's like, oh, there's my childhood dog.
Well, and don't forget the obligatory racist moment with the "Have you been doing unauthorized rain dances again?"
Yeah. That was the 80s, yeah.
That was unfortunate.
Wow. And
And one thing that surprised me was it was actually accurate, but it caught me off guard. So I'm sitting there going, "Why do these guys have full beards?" And it turns out it wasn't until '85 that the ban on beards in the Navy came through. I didn't realize that.
Interesting.
Wow.
Didn't know that. So Eric mentioned earlier seeing Martin Sheen and realizing how much he looks like his dad. And Reagan, I think I told you guys before,
Yeah.
she's like, "Why do I know this guy?" I said, his son was on Minsky method. And she's like, oh, he's that guy. I said, no, that's his dad. And she's like, because they do. As a lady in Virginia once told me about me and my mom, she looks like she just spit you out. And that's how they look. They look like they just spit their kids out.
Oh, my.
Strong genes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there actually is from 2008, there's a PBS miniseries, 10 episodes called Carrier, that tracks the 2005 deployment of the Nimitz.
I know.
To be honest, that's a far better watch.
Yeah,
It's a
it
lot
is.
longer.
We watched it. Yeah, we watched it.
He watched it. I was there.
It does go a lot into the sort of personal dramas of the sailors and the crewmen, which can sometimes drag on a little bit, but it's still interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
We've watched a lot of stuff like that over the past 30 years. Wings.
They didn't have-
With
Yeah.
in the someone's comment.
And they would have only gone back in time 1 year.
Right.
I was really hoping that when they found the portal at the end, that they would go back like an extra 40 years and then like wind
Oh,
up
there
in
you go.
like 1900 and have to figure out what to do. And
I can't believe it took 4 screenwriters to write this.
They're all drunk.
I never read it. A friend of mine in middle school and high school, there was a book, and I cannot remember the name of it. But this is not a new concept. In his case, I think the book was about a tank that gets transported back to the Civil War era. And the whole idea of modern military hardware going back in time and what would the impact be it's an interesting concept. It's far from new. So it could have been a good movie based on just that concept, but they didn't really know quite what to do with it.
I agree. Unfortunately, they didn't seem to know what to do with it. I mean, it's
I think they sort of seemed like to want to M. Night Shyamalan it, and build up to the big shock ending, which wasn't a surprise at all. And that seemed to be the only thing that they were working toward.
Yeah, well, and I think they clearly, they have a passion for the Navy. They clearly, I mean, the director clearly, I don't think that was just to fill time, although it felt like that was what it was when you were watching it. I feel like there was a niche audience for this, and I think it was somewhere right between Wade and Dan.
Trying to get us together.
Exactly.
Well,
right.
and when you get the ability to film on the Nimitz, I mean, that's amazing. The Nimitz had only been in service for a very short time at that point, and
pretty new.
Yeah, it's actually due to be decommissioned sometime in the next decade or so because it's nearing its end of life, but it's still in service.
Dan sent me a message that it is very close to where he lives.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
in
up in Bremerton, I think.
Yeah.
I think originally they were supposed to start decommissioning in 2025, but that may have been pushed back a bit for budgetary reasons.
I think Dan's using it for his next comedy special.
I really hope we get a sequel to this movie once they have access to it, and it's not like an active use.
Well, if they could film on the Gerald R. Ford next, that'd be fun.
We got to ask Mrs. Ford first.
That's the only next gen carrier still that's already in service.
Mm-hmm.
Adam points out there's a whole lot of nothing much going on.
Correct.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it definitely was slow in places.
And also sitting there going, how incompetent are they? Let's just let the prisoner sit here beside an unattended gun.
The prisoner getting the gun is just so sad. That whole sequence was just so like,
yeah.
Oh my.
Because when you see a movie, whether it's Top Gun or this, that has the full cooperation of one of the branches of the service, it's going to portray them in a positive light.
Of course.
Whenever they have a script that doesn't portray them in a positive light, they don't give permission to film.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a little surprising, actually, to see that scene, which portrayed the soldiers as rather blundering.
It seemed, well, how often do you have a dog that's going to distract you with a half-naked woman on board, and then all of a sudden
it's all the dog's fault.
Yeah,
it was the dog's fault. The dog escaped, distracted the guard. The prisoner grabbed the gun. It's the dog's
It's the
fault.
movie Rube Goldberg.
People
The dog
die.
runs through the door that causes the guy to turn. That causes the.
It's 100% how it happened. All right, I think we should rate this thing. I think we've gone along far enough. Let's go get your final comments as we rate. All right, here it is. Wade. Wade,
Hey.
you get to start. I know you've been waiting for this all week. Your chance to tell us your thoughts about the final countdown.
So I came across this a couple months ago, and that's kind of what was on my mind, and because there was time travel in it, and I always usually poo-poo time travel, other than Back to the Future. Yeah, it does kind of move slow, but I do like the carrier and the airplanes. And
it's great footage. It's great footage.
Yeah, there was really good stuff in there. So I'm gonna have to give it. I can't give it very high because it's not something that if I ran across it, I would watch it to see the carriers and stuff like that.
No.
This time watching it, you did kind of knew what was going to happen. The very first time, like Adam was saying, the first time you saw it, you kind of liked it because you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. But after you've seen it once, it's there's still not entertaining enough to keep you in there. So I'm going to give it a 60.
Wow. Definitely one of the lower scores for somebody's own movie. Okay, Stacy.
Yeah.
Stacy's like, I love this. It's 100.
I don't hate it. It was just there. It's just one of those things that Wade has turned on because of he's Wade and it has what Wade likes. And,
I 100% agree.
And it was very benign to me. It was whatever. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, can you turn this off? Like when we used to watch Wings, not the funny sitcom.
Not the sitcom, yeah.
Not the sitcom.
The one about airplanes.
Every single freaking night. I'm like, we just saw this yesterday. It was different airplanes. So yeah.
Have you talked to your therapist about this?
No. That was when we were first married too, so it's been a long time ago, and I'm still
still suffering the after effects.
sometimes. So anyway, it wasn't horrible. It's 1980s TV movie is how I looked at it because it's filmed that way in a way. I'm thinking they really put this in theaters, really? I don't know. So yeah, I guess I'll give it a 58.
58 from Stacy.
Yeah, because I'm never watching it again on purpose. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to take it over. There we go. I'm going to bring it over to Brittany.
Whoa. Oh my goodness. I actually didn't hate it.
Good.
I mean, it was slow. It was a little cheesy for sure. The effects were a little bit a little goofy. And some of the even some of like the more gory stuff that normally in war movies I would be like, I don't know if I can watch this. I was like, really? I could probably die more convincingly than that, but it's fine. But I think for me it was more
all about
like it was about the dog for sure. And just
about a dog and his journey through World War II.
Yes.
That would have been a better movie.
I think
the whole thing from the dog's perspective.
I was curious if there was going to be like any like DNA anomalies to the dog for the aging. Anyways,
right?
Very rapid aging.
These are all my questions too.
The dog is now immortal.
This leads right into Teen Wolf 2. This goes straight to Teen Wolf 2. No good.
No, I think a lot of it for me was like a more like the moral dilemma, and I think part of it is just because like it's already been on my mind. We had a hit and run in like, I don't know, 10 minutes from my house the other day. A truck driver hit a motorcyclist and took off. But when you looked at like what actually happened, the truck driver wasn't originally at fault. So like, why did he run? And just like trying to, for me, like just thinking through it emotionally, they caught him later. He was like 74 or something. And so I was like wondering if it was like a PTSD from the military, if it was an Alzheimer's thing, if he just panicked, like, why did he run? And so if you had, then there was a witness who followed him to try to catch him. And so then my thought was, okay, if you see this, do you stop and help the person? Or if there's enough people stopping to help, do you keep following and try to catch? Like, what do you do? And so this big moral dilemma of now we're back and we could potentially prevent all of these people from dying. But who else will die throughout the course of history? Or how will this change the next 40 years if we prevent this one thing?
There's a better movie in there.
I just overthought all of it. I don't know. I was just super emotionally responding to everything today. I don't know. Anyways. So I enjoyed it. I don't know that I would purposely watch it again, but if it was on, I mean, I would not change the channel, I guess. I think I'll go with 72.
72. All right. Nice job. All right. Well, Scott clearly wants us all to look at the top of his head. No, I'm sorry.
When everyone looks top of my head, that's
So we'll go to Scott and let's hear what's going on in Scott's mind.
So Tarantino says that he makes two kinds of movies. He makes movies that are his characters, and then there's another universe where he thinks about the movies that his characters would watch. I think this movie is the kind of movie that the characters in the movies that his characters would watch. Just the third layer in there. I would say this is probably about 50% more accurate than the Pearl Harbor movie that Michael Bay made.
At least.
We didn't have the Japanese shooting hospitals. That was good. And everybody could actually swim. Yeah, I mean, it's Kirk Douglas. He obviously just needed a job, and it's fine. We got to see Michael Sheen, and it was good. But yeah, it was pretty much a airplane rodeo where you got to see these planes that existed in the 80s go out and shoot planes that existed in the 40s, and could blow up some models, and everybody's supposed to have a good time. I'm sure it was very exciting in 1980. Probably not as exciting when we have the internet today and every other show that's been influenced by this movie. You know, it's a little long. I feel like it has similar problems that people said the Raid had a couple weeks ago. Just like it's people showing what they can do and showing what everything else they had, and the story's not exactly the point. The editing and cinematography is good. It's solid. You know, it's just a very tired, pushed genre of World War II movies meets sci-fi movies. So yeah, I think Eric kind of hit on the nail. This should have been a Twilight Zone episode.
Yes.
Would be much better. Yeah, but for me, you know, it's probably something I would have in the background of a movie, and I wouldn't worry about copyright because I don't understand why you would want to copyright this. So I will say it's probably about a 30 for me.
Ooh.
Was that 30 what?
30.
30. Even.
30 for me.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. No holding punches. This is good. All right. Speaking of holding punches. No.
Yeah, so this movie was just kind of boring. Like I thought the plane stuff was cool. I just wish they had done more than just show the exact same shots over and over. Again. Like when it was like, oh, cool, that's neat how you landed an aircraft carrier,
Right.
But like we don't need to see that like 5 times. We don't need to see the planes take off 20 times. Like we get the idea.
No,
Show
you
something.
need to know how many planes were in the air. No.
And Wade said, "Yeah, you do."
Yeah, you do.
That's fair. Good counter argument. It also felt like, I don't know, most of the movie felt a lot more like, we can't let the senator and everyone know that we're in the past, and very little was actually paid to the, should we, like, stop the Pearl Harbor bombing? And then in the end, they're like, yeah, we should. And then it was like, oh no, the portal's back, never mind. And they just kind of, like, gave up on it. And it just felt like the most anticlimactic thing, where it's like, oh no, the magic portal happened to appear at just the right time, and I guess we're giving up on this plan, so it was all kind of, like, it just
Don't mess with the magic portal.
yeah, it's like stupid magic portal. I don't
You
know.
never know.
It was very weird.
David Copperfield.
Yeah, and then like most of the acting was fine, but there were some people where I'm like, you are not great at delivering lines.
Yeah.
But the one guy who was really over delivering his
Yeah, there
lines.
were some weird ones. And then of course we had our obligatory, well, we need a woman in the movie, and she can appear naked, and then she can have a love and get taken hostage to add drama, but she is completely incidental to the entire plot of the movie, which felt very silly. I don't know. Like I didn't like wasn't angry watching it like I am at some movies that we because like it was pretty inoffensive. It was just boring, which is like a fun. It's like it's not the kind of thing I guess I would mind if it were on the background. It's like okay, more planes, that's fine. It's not like I have an interest in watching again. So it's weird to compare to some other ones, but I'm going to give it a 56.
56. All right. Not bad. That's not bad at all. All right. Dave, Tammy says hi. Hi, Tammy. There we go.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. The special effects are bad. The performances are okay. I'll be honest, I wasn't bored by it. It didn't feel too slow to me. But it just didn't have a plot that held together.
Right.
Such things as, how did the planes that were in the air make it back? Did they have to fly through the portal?
Yeah,
Were
clearly.
they just...
And there was very triumphant music once we knew they made it through.
Oh, the music was so obvious. The musical cues were so by the book. Woo. Yeah.
Did you not see Indiana Jones 5?
At one point, I even said, "Oh, that's the I'm talking to a woman music," because that's literally what it was. They're talking. All of a sudden, you go to this really gentle, soft music because they're talking to the one female character, and it was just kind of silly. I didn't hate it. We certainly watched far worse movies on this. Movies that I went, "Why was this ever made?" I know why this was made.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I know why it was made. It would probably have been made even if they knew how it would turn out, and even if they knew it wouldn't make much money. It was fine for what it was. It could have been a Twilight Zone, only, maybe not starring Vic Morrow, but
Right.
it's okay. I think the critics have it about right, so I'll give it a 52.
52 or a 50 as well?
52. 50 followed by the number 2. 5-2.
Okay. Well, how about that? All right. So we do have some scores. Rebecca says the dog gets 100. 60.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Now, hold on to your butts. Here comes Adam's score. We're going to mix this up a little bit. Here's Adam's score. The movie was, man, I'm not supposed to say it gets a 20.
That's pretty good for my movies, Adam.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw my score in here, and then we'll get to Dan's because that's going to be the most exciting part of this. I know you're all beside yourself in excitement. Turn up my light a little bit too. No, just no. Just no. Yeah, I've said everything that I need to say. For me, I'm like, this definitely ends up in the 30s for me. And so whenever I think about the 30s, I think about Take the Money and Run.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I would recommend Take the Money and Run over this. So I'm going to say 33.
Wow.
Because this is not my movie. But are you ready? Here is the response.
How high is it?
I don't know if I'm ready for
Mr.
this.
Rosenberg sends in, I love time travel movies. And his mother says he might have actually seen this with his dad and brother at the drive-in when it came when he was a wee lad. It's got some cheesy moments, but it's actually one I've enjoyed each time I've seen it. I've watched this at the beginning of the pandemic, and I'll probably watch it again and again.
Oh boy!
Not just
I loved it. It was better than Cats.
Definitely better than Cats.
Yes.
From 1980. He gives it an 80.
Wow. Okay.
I had a feeling it was going to be in the 80s.
So there you go from Dan. And Tammy.
25 years ago.
Tammy, I can't believe you haven't been with us for so long, and this is the movie you want.
Sorry.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I will have to do some math, which I will get to before this night is over. We definitely have a new movie I can add to the intro. I'll tell you that right now. So prepare yourself for that. But I won't torture you for too long. Yeah, Tammy, horrible. One word review there from Tammy. Thank you. That's awesome. And hold on, the problem is there's still too many buttons to push. Let me see, and I'm gonna try to mess that up. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. All right, cool. And we're back in business. Not the lowest movie though.
No.
There are movies this is not the bottom of the pile, but enough to get into the intro.
Last page though.
Yes, exactly. Definitely into the intro. So there you go. But now the moment I think everybody's been waiting for is the chance to pick a double feature next week. And I have a button for this. There I do. All right. So as you know, you get to pick a movie here. 2 movies for us to talk about. We will be talking about this movie in 2 weeks. So this will be for September 4th. So you'll need to be able to join us on September 4th. So people in the comments, I need a
On Labor Day.
Oh.
a confirmation that you not only want to pick 2 movies, but that you'll be able to be here in 2 weeks to help pick our movie. And you can add anybody on the wheel except for Scott. Because Scott has already picked
That's his punishment.
this go round. And the picker wheel is locked
Technically
up.
takes
So we have a minute. No, there we go. I got it. So Scott has already picked one this round. If anybody would like to be left off the wheel, please let me know if you want to be in. Is that a holiday? September 4th?
Yes, that is Labor Day. So yeah.
Oh, that's not a holiday.
I'm not at work. You are.
Geneva's, yeah, it doesn't.
We're working that day.
I
That's
know
not
you
a
are.
holiday. We don't get that off. That's like nothing.
Yeah.
Do people have major conflicts on Labor Day? On Labor Day,
Mhm.
big
You?
family plans that they will not be able to attend.
No, I'll have to go to work in the morning, so that'll be all
It is
right.
a holiday, but you should by 8 o'clock at night. You should be ready.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean.
Exactly. We just lost somebody, didn't we?
Yeah, Scott just said he.
Oh, Scott's like, I don't get to choose. Then I'm out of here. See how that is.
Mhm.
Well,
He has company.
I know he should definitely go be with his brother, especially when he doesn't get to choose the double feature. So Adam, let us know if you're going to be able to join. Rebecca's in the comments. Dan's in the comments. I don't know about whether he's really watching anymore though. So I don't know to put him on the wheel or not. We need to know about anybody who's in the comment who wants to be this. We will give you a moment or two to decide what your fate is. Adam says he's in. Dun, dun, dun.
You know what? Take me off. I just have a feeling, so just take me off. I'm not ready for a double feature.
You're not
I'm ready for a movie last.
That's fair. You don't have your normal assistant there to help you pick movies.
I think
She's here. But
take me off too.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I can.
Wow.
That's my Lord of the Rings marathon. So
I'll
I'll watch stuff and text you scores, but I don't know that I'll be here.
not be able to be on the show, so that's fine. Rebecca says she's in. He said, I don't know if Dan is even around to be able to pick movies, so he might just not be in. Now, obviously, next go around, if you'll be able to be. Dan points out that next week's needs to be a Sunday night for a show because next Monday is Dan's birthday.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that.
We did talk about that for our TV episode to discuss news radio.
So hilarious.
The first 2 seasons are super.
We haven't seen them. We
Yeah.
we missed them. We found 4 and 5,
Oh,
and
They're still pretty
they're
good.
good because we haven't seen 1 and 2.
maybe that's the case.
I
We got a lot to
understand where you're
talk
coming
about.
from, but looking at it backwards, and I remember being cringe back then,
Sure.
but watching it again,
That's
without-
interesting. That is
Yeah.
This will be a very interesting conversation.
It will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's next
For that
Sunday,
many seasons, it helped.
Sunday
pretty
night
good.
at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Rebecca's in, Adam's in. I think we're good. Dan, do you want to be on this wheel? Are you able to pick movies where you're at?
it's a perfect D6 right now.
Ooh,
It is true. We just don't put Dan in. Maybe we don't give him the choice.
that's what I
Oh, we got
said.
rid of our
People-
egg. We got rid of our Eggo ad.
Mhm.
Huggies. Oh, we're at Huggies now.
Not a sponsor, but the Fruit Loops are definitely a sponsor. So please pick up some delicious Fruit Loops. They're good.
Party butt.
All right. I'm shuffling. Dan has not said a word. I'm assuming he is spending quality time with his family as he should be and is not interested in picking 2 movies. So I'm going to spin this thing and we'll see who gets to pick 2 movies. And it's a little.
It's so laggy.
It
You
is a
got
little,
this wheel.
it's a little
I believe in you. Wheel.
on here. Up, Dan line.
Ooh.
Oh no!
Welcome to Wade Fest 2023.
That's 2023. Should have added Dan to the wheel.
Should have. That's why I took myself off. Oh my gosh.
Wait, are you up to picking 2 more movies?
Yeah,
You know
I
any
was,
more time travel plane movies?
I was just gonna no more planes.
That's a lot.
No more planes.
Pick a train movie.
Does that mean we're off for next week?
You do
I guess
planes,
I could
trains,
pick
and
Maverick.
automobiles.
Next week is TV show.
Yeah, next week.
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
TV for 2 weeks from now.
I knew
I mean, we
that.
could pick Maverick, but I'm not going to do it to anybody. I was thinking we'll just do the next 2 Harry Potter movies that we haven't watched.
That is so lame.
Get out of here. Let me pick.
You let somebody else pick. Wow. That's boring.
Wow, the veto.
All right. We'll do Maverick and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Ooh.
To at least one of
Are
those.
they available to
Huh?
stream?
Yeah, streaming.
Dungeons
I
and
think
Dragons is
so.
on Peacock.
Okay.
We'll have
I don't know
Dungeons
about
and
Maverick.
Dragons on,
That's why I want to check Maverick. That's the one I'm curious about.
oh, yeah, check and see if they are.
Dungeons and Dragons is I know for sure.
the Mel Gibson 1994 classic.
It's on Prime Video.
Okay.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I thought
Cool. Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons.
So there you go. So Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise,
It doesn't even sound right.
Maverick. Unless you wanted to do the 1994 Maverick starring Mel Gibson.
I want to watch
idea.
that. I do want to see that.
And don't. It's not just Mel Gibson though.
God, no.
Yeah.
Gibson.
You got
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
you've got one of the most dapper actors of all time in that movie.
Yes.
I think we could do that. We could do Maverick and Maverick. How's that?
Wait a minute.
I'm okay with that.
Calm down.
Sorry.
See what we've done.
All right.
He's
Oh,
a-
man.
I'm so
She's
confused
so
right now.
disappointed. So what are we doing? What are we doing, Wade?
No, we could do Dungeons and Dragons and Maverick. We'll do 2 new movies.
Dungeons and Dragons and Maverick. That's good because the Maverick 1994 is not available for free streaming anywhere.
Okay, that's good.
So yeah,
That settles that.
that's better. At least these are both available.
That's so
Adam says, "Nah, he's not a Tom Cruise fan at all."
It's a better movie than the other one, but yeah.
It would have to be.
Is there, how much shirtless volleyball is there?
I'm
It's
sure
a
it's
little bit of football on the beach. That's about it. It's not as
Okay.
bad.
It's really lame.
That's
No,
awesome.
it's not.
That's
The
awesome.
music is definitely better.
Yeah.
I don't know, Berlin.
Dear, 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 dear.
Seriously, come on now.
Every
All
time
right,
there's
let's do
such
this.
things
Let's
up there.
talk about what else you've been watching.
Get this thing done yet? What? Take the headphones off. I can't hear you. I have headphones on. Why are you?
I love those. Because I was there for a lot of it.
You were there for a lot of it.
Adam Goldberg made an entire TV series off of something like that.
Right?
We weren't that funny.
Eric, last week the stuff you showed after and the after party,
Oh, yeah,
I think
yeah.
I showed up after you guys were filming that. I think I showed up that night. That's why I remember
That's
the
very
story.
possible.
I think
That
I
was
did.
the party.
Still remembering
An
stuff.
EriDan groupie.
He spent a lot of time at the Eric Cave.
I did. I was there a lot.
It was quite the place to be.
It was my hangout.
Yeah, it's true. So what have you been watching? I said I have been watching so much news radio. I have 2 episodes left of the entire series.
Oh,
Oh,
We've
wow.
watched 3 episodes so far.
Oh, man, I went all in, and I am
It's easy to do.
struggling through season 5. Like it is.
Interesting.
That's
But
the,
we're
is that
on
the
now.
last season?
yeah, it
That's
is.
the post Phil Hartman season?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is really cheesy, but it's still better than some of the garbage that I've been seeing lately on TV. So.
I really hope you can. We're gonna figure out a way for you to see the first season.
I know.
I will
we-
say,
So grounded. It's so well grounded and so like it's I don't know. To me, it's much more clever.
what surprised me, again,
Oh,
only
yeah.
watching 3 episodes so far, what surprised me was I forgot how good Stephen Root was in this.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's
He
fabulous.
is what he carries the show more than
Oh,
any
yeah.
other character, to be honest.
James.
Mhm.
I love
it
it.
does. It gets now around season 4 is where it starts to get the
Okay.
plot lines get ridiculous.
Mhm.
And it's like,
yeah.
what is going on here? What happened to the show? Yeah. But all right, hey, while you're thinking about what you've been watching to share, I will share with you that the final countdown came in with a 49.
Oh, last call.
Beating out Super Troopers, you betcha. Coming in right below the family.
My other movie. Yeah,
That was way too
49
way too-
movie.
And
Ambulance is
right
safe
above
for
that.
now.
And the Great Santini.
Okay, Grand
Yeah.
Santini's doing okay.
Other airplane movie. I got to quit picking airplane movies.
That's
That'll be the day.
Right?
why
Well,
would
we'll run out eventually.
we do that?
Were there any airplanes in Dungeons and Dragons? I don't remember.
Not that I remember.
We'll have to see. Yeah. So yeah. Anybody else watch anything else interesting? Nothing.
Just
Nobody's
Murders
watching.
in the building.
Yeah, we watched the episode.
Oh,
Yep, only murders.
when are those coming out? What day
Every
do those get
Tuesday.
released?
I think it's
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The Tuesday. I've seen the first 3, and they're
What
so,
Amanda?
So another one
New
tomorrow.
one
Yeah,
tomorrow, but yeah.
oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's been really good.
it is a good show, man.
Mhm.
I'm going to see them next month. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna murder somebody. It's gonna be
Well,
Yeah.
great.
2 out of 3 of the murderers.
Yes, 2 out of 3 of the murderers. Yeah, there's no Selena Gomez showing up at the show, as far as I know.
Hey, you never know.
Which show, Dave? What are you talking about?
Steve Martin and Martin Short are on tour. They're going back on tour starting next month.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It would be amazing.
It would.
There isn't a Netflix special that they have of the tour
Yeah.
that they did last.
From a couple years ago. It's really good.
That's
Oh,
right.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's great. I highly recommend it. They play off against each other so well. It's just
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
We watched the movie Joy from 2015.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I enjoyed that. It's super quirky. It goes from super sad to hilarious.
It's not. I
weird.
don't think it's as good as American Hustle or Silver Linings Playbook, but it's still very good.
It's still very good. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Not and Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper are like just have like 14 movies together.
Oh yeah, well that's the David O. Russell. They're sort of like his stable of stars.
Yeah.
The same way that
It's always fun to watch them play off of each other. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's a movie I'll watch again and again, like Dan's going to do with the Final Countdown. But I would definitely watch it again, though. I find it enjoyable. It's fun.
we should find the worst time travel movie we can, just to see if Dan will still like it.
Well, I thought we already found
Yeah, I
that.
did. That's all.
And I mean dance.
A Knight's Tale.
Man. Wow. What's the other? We watched 2 movies. Oh, we watched Mr. Holmes. Have you ever seen Mr. Holmes with Ian McKellen?
Oh, that was with Ian McKellen. Really, yeah, as old Sherlock Holmes.
Old, retired, dementia.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I remember when it came out, but I didn't see it.
I always wanted to see it. It's got Laura Linney in it. It's not the lighthearted romp that you might enjoy from a normal Sherlock Holmes movie, but I mean, Ian McKellen is really good in it.
We've been watching BBC Sherlock, and we found my gym friend and I found a Sherlock drinking game to play when you watch it.
Ooh.
And so we're using it for our water, like to make sure we're getting our water in. And I'm going, if this was alcohol, we would be smashed before one episode was over. Like, holy cow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mr. Holmes sort of strikes me as to Sherlock Holmes what Logan is to Wolverine. It's not as fun. It's not as it's the older, fading light, but still really well written is what it looked like.
Yeah, it is, and it's really well acted and portrayed, and it's a little heartwarming, I'd say, but it's not like it doesn't have the big clever reveal that you're hoping to get from a Sherlock Holmes movie. Like, it doesn't have that like plot twist, turns out, right? No, nothing like, I mean, it's a really good movie. And I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan of pretty much anything outside of that disgusting Will Ferrell.
Oh, John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell one.
Just the absolute worst piece of gutter trash I've ever watched in my life. I'd watch Super Troopers before I watched that again.
Wow.
It's so
better than Cats.
So have you watched Enola Holmes then?
Yes, absolutely. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did too.
Yeah. It's probably it's kind of why I enjoy Psych. It's kind of that whole detective mystery, putting the clues together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have thought about picking Columbo for a TV show sometime. But we'll
Oh
see.
my gosh,
I've never seen an episode of Columbo.
Never.
Parts.
It's so formula. It's awesome.
Yeah, and
I would have to very carefully curate which episodes, but if you
Yeah.
watch the best episodes of Columbo, it is brilliant.
I have had to listen to Dan's terrible Columbo impression for the past 40 years. Does that count?
Oh yeah, I
Scared you
feel
away,
you.
Adam said he went to see Blue Beetle, which wasn't that good, but it wasn't god awful. They're saying it's the best DC movie out for quite some time, but you take that as it was.
Talk about damning with faint praise. Yeah, that's
It's the best of the worst things that we've ever seen. So yeah,
it sort of strikes me as like an Ant-Man in the MCU, where it's just sort of a standalone movie on its own, outside of the giant story arc.
yes,
And it sounds like it's an enjoyable movie.
yeah. It seems like it's doing okay, but again, with everything happening at DC, who knows what's going
Yeah,
on?
well, they only got what I think Aquaman 2, which is coming out later this year, is the last of that entire arc, and then the James Gunn era starts.
So the question is, do you really go see movies that you know are part of an arc that they're abandoning? I'm like,
Well, yeah, I mean, because at least with Endgame, you knew it wasn't an abandoned arc; it was the culmination of an arc.
Yeah.
This one, yeah, they're sort of abandoning it midstream.
oh yeah, they're done. They're like, and so this was geared towards me apparently. So maybe I will go see Blue Beetle.
The Taylor Swift crowd, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with that. Amazing.
Yeah, watched Only Murders. Watched another episode or two of. We have 2 episodes left of Schmigadoon season 2.
Oh, I need to get.
It's very good. If you like musicals, because if you don't like musicals, you won't get the references, and if you don't get the references, a lot of the humor is lost. Because they're referencing Sweeney Todd and Chicago and Annie and Hair, and they're sort of mashing them all up together in a really interesting way.
I enjoyed the first season quite a lot.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the first season, I think you'd enjoy the second season. It's basically the same type of idea, but done in a different era of musicals. So
the first couple of episodes of the second season, and then our subscription ran out. Then we stopped watching. I need to go buy an Apple product, because what I'm saying is I need to go buy an Apple.
Oh, there you go.
3
If
more
only
months.
Apple made hearing aids, right?
It's a thought.
Yeah, I wonder why they don't.
They don't.
We could get $6,000 for them, I mean, heck.
Absolutely. Imagine how much the Apple hearing aids would cost.
Oh man.
Yeah, but then he might hear me.
Let me see. So Adam says Thor 5 is supposedly in development, which I just don't feel good about it. So I don't. We'll see after 4.
Who's of the actors, I should say, who are in the whole MCU arc from Iron Man through Endgame?
Right.
Who's left? Because Robert Downey's gone, Chris Evans is gone,
right.
Hemsworth is gone, right?
Hemsworth is not.
He's still in it.
Yep.
Okay.
Hawkeye is still in it,
and Paul Rudd, I think, is still in.
Yep.
Because Guardians is supposed to be done now, right? What's yeah.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson's dead, so we don't get her. So you still get Loki. You still have
Ruffalo.
You still have Mark Ruffalo. You still have Hawkeye. You have Renner if he doesn't win over himself.
If he can still walk, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So you have a handful, and it was just, I think people were looking forward to Thor, and I think that Thor was unfortunately
bad. It was. And then on top of that, you have they were trying to introduce these newer characters, and they didn't all really take equally well. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to make those gel together. I mean, obviously you still have Spider-Man. I realize that's half Sony, half Disney, but always a little weird. But
right,
yeah.
And Chris Pratt isn't done, but the rest of the Guardians, at least for now, are done. Spoilers. Yeah, sorry, spoilers. Shouldn't have said that.
It was pretty well known that was the last Guardians movie.
It's been out for a while, but yeah. But they did at least tease that. and that's streaming now, so you can watch that on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Um,
They're going to have a Parks and Rec crossover. Amy Poehler's going to come in. And
at this
Nick
point,
Offerman.
they need to do something.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we've got our double feature.
Yep. And just a note, we only have 11 more movies until we start watching Christmas movies. So think about that.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Crazy. Okay.
After these two, there will be 11 more non-TV weeks. Not even 11 more weeks, because that includes the double feature movies. So there'll be 11
Wow.
more movies before we hit December and
That's
start
crazy.
doing all of our Christmas movies. So start thinking about what movies you might want to watch this Christmas.
It never go like that.
Oh, it does go like that, right?
Oh my God.
Absolutely. It's practically fall already. I can
Oh my-
smell the pumpkin spice
There are
already.
so many bad Christmas movies.
There's gotta be like, oh, what's that show? Is there a Christmas TV series?
Oh, like a
Oh.
Well, they did the
Oh.
Santa Clauses, which is the follow-up to the
Oh, that's
3
true.
Santa Claus movies.
Oh,
Or
please.
do we just pick Christmas episodes
think
of
we
TV
just-
shows?
Oh.
I can
Dash and Lily is
I
a
don't know, I think
whirlwind
you
Christmas
know.
romance, and that's a TV show.
Oh man.
Or is it like a Hallmark movie?
No, Dash and Lily is a TV show, I think, on Netflix.
Okay.
I don't know if during Christmas we needed a TV show for the month.
That's
No, that's true. We
Last
really
Christmas we did double features every week. If you remember,
That's true.
don't.
oh, that's
We
You have to pick one good Christmas movie, one bad
one
Christmas
bad Christmas movie. Well,
or something like that.
The Cat's Christmas Carol. Come on, let's go. Okay. So you got your movies, you got your marching orders for next week. You're gonna watch TV shows. You're gonna
News
watch
radio.
on Fubo, I think, is where you're gonna watch that. And in 2 weeks, you're gonna watch 2 incredibly highly rated movies on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score for Top Gun Maverick is a 99, and for Dungeons and Dragons is a 93. So Wade coming back strong.
Wade's making up for this week.
For his movie choices, except for Adam, who hates Tom Cruise. So, hey, if you don't like The Middle Tooth, you don't like The Middle Tooth. What are
I
you
am
gonna-
not a Tom Cruise fan either, but he's done some good movies.
I
Yeah,
also don't like Tom Cruise at all.
I like Jerry Maguire.
I think it's definitely better than the Mission Impossible movies.
Well, it doesn't take
There you
much,
go.
but yeah.
Not
Although I
same.
heard this last one was really good.
I've also never seen any of the Top Gun anythings.
Yeah, same. I know nothing about Top Gun except
Oh.
Maybe you watch Top
Well,
Gun with
Gotta say,
Oh.
watch the
You need to
the
go
old one
watch
first,
original.
and then watch.
I want it
the
to be a
new one.
triple feature.
You have 2 weeks.
You have 2 weeks. I just recommend that you do
Fast
that.
forward through a lot of Top Gun. I think if you could have it with your remote in hand,
Yeah, or at least
every
I'll
time
watch like a review on YouTube and read the Wikipedia plot.
yeah, I was gonna say at least get the review from what.
Watch it and fast forward.
Yeah,
I bet you there's a Top Gun recap on YouTube. That's probably like
Yeah.
there you go.
long
Yeah.
that you could
Top
watch.
Gun, the Phantom Cut. Yeah.
I mean, I
Phantom Edit.
can't imagine how much carries over. He's not with the girl anymore.
Hey, spoiler.
Spoilers.
I did not like her.
You didn't even know there was a girl.
I know. Now I know they don't end up together. Doesn't
Oh, no. Why his heart is broken. I'm sure they addressed that in the first 8 seconds of the movie. Like, oh no, I dumped her months ago.
Do we still get tropes like your brain's writing checks your body can't cash or whatever the heck that line
Oh.
was?
Well, almost.
Maybe.
There's still
Almost.
a couple like that, but it's not as thick as the first one was with that stuff.
So
Your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
Yeah.
That's it.
There it is.
in the
And-
beginning, there's a scene that happens, and I was telling Reagan that when they built the SR-71, which is the fastest plane in the world, and it hit the outer atmosphere, and the engine quit, and then the plane broke apart, and the one guy landed in the middle of nowhere and walked to a store. It's like, hey, where am I? So and so when in the movie something kind of like that happens, and
I mean,
I told
I'm
Reagan
no,
about that, and she's like, I saw this before. What the heck?
I'm no Wade, but to me, the SR-71 is one of the pinnacles of
Oh, yeah.
human ingenuity. It's an amazing, amazing plane.
And then it was built 60 years ago.
Titanium.
Even more
Elon Musk?
67 years ago.
The fact that it leaked fuel all over the runway until it heated up enough to seal the surfaces.
Mhm.
Oops. Wow.
Yep.
Oh, I'm looking
And
forward.
nothing can
I
touch
wanted
it.
to see it. I wanted to watch it. It's just kind of been on the back burner for me.
Oh,
So
sure.
I wanted to watch it, so I'm excited to get to see it. And I just watched Dungeons and Dragons just a couple of weeks ago.
Good.
Mhm.
But I'll probably watch it again because I was
Fun movie.
for
We
enjoyment.
watched it 2
Yeah, we
nights
watched
ago.
Oh,
He says we watched it. I don't remember. I must have been reading.
You weren't paying attention.
Adam says he's on an island, but he doesn't have much interest in the Ahsoka TV series that's going to be on Disney Plus coming up.
oh, huh.
So
Oh.
Star Wars, yet another Star Wars series on.
Oh, wow.
Long
I didn't
given
know
up
it
on
was
I
a
didn't
Star
even
Wars
know.
series. Yeah.
I hadn't even heard of it. So.
It's,
No, me neither.
it starts to
I'm
feel
over Star Wars.
It all starts to feel like a lot of work.
Mhm.
You know, where it's like, oh, do we have to watch that? And so, yeah, it's going to take me a while for me to get sucked back into that universe again.
Well, maybe if the writer's strike goes on long enough, you'll catch up.
It was better when my kids were really into it, but now that my
That would
kids
help.
want to watch it,
Well, that's like Wade watched The Mandalorian, and I had no idea what was happening. It was so slow and boring. And I'm like, what's going on? I had
I watched the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian and said, I'm done.
Dan thought it was a Back to the Future thing about a man in a DeLorean, and he was very
Ah.
unhappy with the results.
Yeah, well,
he was wrong.
It was wrong. Sometimes
Yeah. Where's the rim shot, Eric?
oh, sorry, I missed my own rim shot. It happens. There's a lot of buttons here.
well, speaking about DeLoreans and time travel, I was watching something on Reels the other day where a car blew through an intersection, and then like it hit something and it lit up wherever it hit. That was off screen, so it looked like the DeLorean.
Well, maybe.
What is it with dogs and time travel movies anyway?
Right?
There is a trope there.
Yep.
Anything to suck the ladies in, right? Like anything that you can be like, hey, look, you get your nerdy husband to watch this. Here's your time travel movie, but here's an adorable bunny that will go with our. Oh, it's possible. Mr. Peabody had the lovely little teenager who brought with him everywhere.
Mr. Peabody is your example.
Well, didn't they have a movie where he was in not within recent history?
Yeah, they did a Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie about maybe 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago.
Hey, the fact that I even remembered Mr. Peabody is pretty
And
impressive.
the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine. Yeah.
Machine.
That should be our TV series next.
There we go.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
I'm thinking Underdog. If I'm going back there, I'm going with Underdog.
Yeah,
That was my show. That show was my jam. You know,
Pick,
I would.
pick this up at Pulp Fest this year.
What is that magic that you're holding in your hand?
How Underdog was born.
Your shot.
Oh wow!
Signed by one of the 2 series creators.
Oh my goodness
Cool.
gracious!
That was
That's awesome.
And it turns out the reason the line neither bird nor pain nor even frog is in the thing is because they were in competition to come up with a new cartoon series for Saturday morning, and they were competing against Jay Ward, who was the creator of Rocky and Bullwinkle, and they apparently had a frog in their series. So they were told by the studio, "Don't use any frogs. You can't use frogs."
Oh my gosh,
That's where that came from.
That's amazing. For me, it was Underdog and Hong Kong Phooey.
Ah,
Probably not a
I
perfect.
love Hong Kong Phooey.
Hong Kong Phooey.
Oh my gosh, that's those are my most cherished TV
See,
series.
to me, Underdog,
There's a
Rocky and
janitor
Bullwinkle,
dog.
and the Wacky Races are sort of mine.
Yeah, I like the Wacky Racers. I like
Penelope Pit Stop.
Yes, Dudley Do-Right,
Yes.
Mhm.
Dick Dastardly, and Muttley.
Oh my gosh. The Adams Family.
that. Oh, yeah,
They were in
right.
it. The Adams
See,
Family. Were
that's
in there.
moving over to a different time for me. Is the Adams Family, but I
No. They were in the race.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were.
they
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't watch the cartoon of them, but they were in the race.
yeah. But do you own a copy of Underdog the movie?
Oh my!
Yes, we probably do.
One Nation Underdog.
you own Underdog, Reagan? No,
Oh,
she said,
my.
no, we don't own it.
That's terrible. But boy, I'll tell you, we saw that as a double feature in the movie, and Jennifer fell asleep, and I loved it. That dog was in the movie for me. I didn't realize I needed a Jim Belushi movie, but apparently in 2007 I really did. That's awesome.
Yeah, not a whole lot of Jim Belushi movies going to make my must-watch list. That's for sure.
Adam says he watched Castaway on YouTube because it was free.
You're sitting on it.
YouTube.
Well, Tom, that's a movie that depends 100% on its star, because you really have one person on camera for 90% of the movie.
That's true.
I mean, if someone lesser than Tom Hanks tries to pull it off, it doesn't work.
I think Stacy clearly put you in the mood for a marooned hero.
Another
movie.
nautical theme. Huh?
A nautical themed hero movie, right? And he says that Wacky Races was a bizarre show, but fun.
It was Castaway, like Tom Hanks.
Like Tom Hanks.
Wow, Adam watched that just because?
Just because he wanted some.
Because it was free. I would say Wacky Races, though, that also, I think, then eventually led into my love of The Great Race, which we watched on this. And I know some people just found way too long, but I love.
The Great Race, no, it didn't do that well. I didn't hate it. I but it was long, and the ending was abrupt, as I recall. It was
people found the ending unsatisfying. Yeah.
Yeah, we're out of film. We're just going to wrap this up now.
That's Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's the ultimate movie for that.
Well, that's a point too.
Sorry, we're looking for our remote. I don't know why.
They're already looking for something else to watch. They're like, we're done with this. What else is on TV?
Casey had it a little bit ago.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, okay. Next week, News Radio, 2 weeks from now. Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, and Dungeons and Dragons. Get your geek on, and we will see you back here for more fun and hijinks, and probably Dan.
Probably.
Maybe a little bit birthday party for Dan. Who knows? It'll be his birthday eve, so we'll maybe I'll have to pull up some embarrassing clips or something. You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, who could have those?
I think I have a few. So, all right, we will see you back here next week.
Sunday.
All right. Sunday. All right.
Sunday it is.
Stay on.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.